Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your patience, and I hope that you had a really nice weekend and were able to get some rest from all the work that's been happening so far. Good morning to you all. My name is Natalie, and I work at the Knowledge and Learning Commons, which is a part of the library and our Centre for Learning and Multilingualism at UN Geneva. And our aim through the Commons is to be able to provide this more informal space to share knowledge, information with each other, and to collaborate across our different areas of work. And for this, we bring to you different experts and practitioners from different fields to share their knowledge and their information and to engage with you. Today, we have a session on keeping a healthy mind with the Staff Counsellor's Office at UN Geneva. We have Mary Bridget Leahy and Rosa van der Heide. And we did attempt to do the webinar last week through WebEx. So thank you for those who rejoined the session from last week, which unfortunately was not able to go ahead because of technical difficulties. But we're here now on MS Teams live event, and we're very glad to have you with us. We have this session called Keeping a Healthy Mind because our mental health and our emotional health is very important always, and especially in this time of change and many unexpected situations. This is, for many of us, the third week that we're working from home now. So the transition to telecommuting may not be as new, but there are still many unknowns. We are facing different situations in our own lives as well, and we may react differently to the different challenges or situations we're facing. So our two counselors are here, and the aim of this session is to share with you tips on how to cope during these changes and unexpected things coming up, especially as we try to work in new ways, but also live in new ways as well. They'll also share tips on self-care, so looking after yourself, how to look after your children if you have them at home with you, the elderly, community members, as well as our colleagues, of course, who we work with every day. So they'll be sharing tips on this, as well as where to go to if you would like more support and would be seeking some more questions or you need to be able to speak with someone. They'll also guide us through a 5-minute mindfulness meditation if you would like to join us for this practice online. And there'll also be time for you to ask your questions. You'll see at the right-hand panel of your screen a live Q&A. So please don't hesitate to ask your questions there, and also maybe share your ideas for what's been working for you over the past few weeks. The session will go for about 30 minutes, the presentation, before we move over to moderating the Q&A. And our two counselors, Mary and Rosa, will do their best to respond to as many questions as possible. So now I'll hand over to Mary, who will introduce herself as well as Rosa. Thank you very much for being with us and also for sharing all this with us.
Hello everyone. So my name is Mary Leahy and I'm one of the staff counsellors at UNOG in Geneva. So welcome everyone, and like Natalie said, we apologise, and we tried to go live with this last Tuesday, but unfortunately it didn't work so well. So we're trying again now, and hopefully you can hear us this time and it will work. So I'm going to start with our presentation, and then Rosa will come in later. Normally Rosa would introduce herself now as well, but it's just for technology. She will do that a little bit later. So basically, what is staff counselling? Some of you will know us already. You might have come to a mindfulness session, or you might have come to one of our training programs in the past. But for those of you who don't know, staff counselling is a place that's neutral, it's confidential, and it's a place where staff can contact us to discuss any worries or concerns that you have. It might be over work, maybe stress at work, too many deadlines, maybe there's been changes in your team, maybe you're feeling harassed, or maybe you're noticing somebody on your team who's not doing well and you want to get some support for them. We work with managers as well and supervisors to help maybe during periods of change, or to give advice and guidance on things that happen. And then we also work with you if you have things going on in your personal life, because that can of course impact how we are at work. So there's 3 of us in the team. There's me, Rosa, and then we have Sharmila. And Sharmila is our staff counselling assistant. So she's not here today. Well, she might be listening, but she will also be doing some presentations with us in the near future. So the plan is, while we're all now telecommuting and working at home, we would like to do some things like this with Natalie in Commons, and also with CLM, so the Centre of Learning and Multilingualism. So I think we're just about ready to start, and we'll start just by telling you, so who we are and then how you can contact us. Actually, that's very important. So the best way to contact us is we have a generic email. It's called staffcounsellor@un.org, and the three of us check that email several times a day, so we will get back to you. And as Natalie said, if there are maybe personal questions, often with staff counselling, some of the things you might want to talk to us about is very personal and private. So please do reach out to us, and we will get in touch with you individually. So just to start, like Natalie said, we've all been now telecommuting for 2 weeks, and maybe some of you for longer. Some people have never telecommuted before, like me. So a lot of us maybe had the stress of having to deal with finding a new way of working at home. For example, where are you going to be in your apartment? Not everybody has a study. Some people are living with other people, some are on their own. So it's about, and then it was about getting used to the technology and would everything work. And we now have MS Teams, Skype for Business, we have Jabber, we have the normal telephone. It's quite difficult to coordinate everything. But the main purpose of today is to talk about COVID-19 and this situation that we're all finding ourselves in. So it's a new situation. Most of us have maybe never been through a pandemic before. Some people have. It's something that's rapidly changing as the virus is evolving and as scientists and researchers are coming out with more information every day on the news for us. But the main purpose today was to talk about how we can practice self-care and how we can figure out a way of getting through this. We don't know if we'll be telecommuting for a few weeks or if it might go on for a few months. We really don't know. So it's how do we cope? And one of the main things is for most of us have some level of anxiety and maybe even depression at stages in our life, which is normal. It might not be depression, it might be that you're feeling down some days. That's totally normal. But in a situation like this where we can't see an end, often the people that are more prone to being low will really struggle. And then there's other people there, maybe a relationship might be difficult because all the family's in the house at the same time, or there may be worries and other worries that come along. It can be harder. So, but the main thing to think about is what can I control and what can I not control? So we have written some tips for telecommuting, and they're shared with HRMS, have just published one on Friday on iSeek. There's an article there about telecommuting and working from home with all the advice and guidance you can get over things, for example, about well, all kinds of things. It's for managers and it's for staff to keep you up to date. And then we've also published things like have a routine and try and do a bit of exercise every day. So basically, there's lots of unknowns and lots of uncertainty. Common reactions will be this feeling of helplessness, anxiety, fear, and maybe loneliness due to being isolated. Now, you'll know being alone is not the same as being lonely. Some people are alone and they're very happy, but then others could be with other people and they'll still feel alone. But this is about figuring out what is my personality and what works for me. And actually, at the moment, I find that we're connecting so much through the internet. And for me, a positive experience has been that I've gotten to know other colleagues on my team and on the wider team at the UN who've maybe come forward to try and volunteer or just to say hello, or now I have to work with them in a different way that I've never worked with before. And it's been a really good experience. But one of the main things we think about, people are thinking about at the moment, and they're reaching out to Rosa and I and asking about, is maybe concerns about losing their livelihood. For example, a lot of staff at the UN are temping, and many are consultants. Then there's all the interns. Lots of people we don't know about the future. There was already a cash crisis, and now maybe some people are worried, gosh, will I have a job at the end of all of this? Some people's contracts may be temporarily suspended, but hopefully people will come back to work work in the future. With big events like this, big crises that happen in the world, like the financial crisis in 2008, it does take a while to recover, but eventually the world does recover. Most people love traveling. We will all travel again. And most people love shopping, and we'll all shop again. So the economy will get going. Same with going back to restaurants, getting your hair done, all of those businesses that are closed down at the moment, they will need our support, and they will get our support in the future. So that's a big thing. Then also there's fears about our personal health. A lot of us, especially when we're feeling maybe more isolated and more at home, and we're watching the news or we're reading articles, we start thinking about signs and symptoms for ourselves. Oh gosh, I'm sneezing today, or have an earache, or I'm feeling very hot. So, but actually, some of that is actually what we call psychosomatic. It's when you're worried about something, so then your body almost displays the symptoms. So some of us will be feeling that and worried about maybe that we have the virus and worried that we might pass it on to somebody else. And then some of us actually do have the virus and might be sick right now and might have a family member who's sick. So it is a big concern. And all we can do is pause and acknowledge it and tell ourselves, okay, this is a worry, and it's normal for me to be worried at the moment. And it's normally for my family member maybe to be complaining or to be extra anxious. So all you do is just acknowledge it and then take a deep breath and then try and control what you can, which is finding out some information, maybe ringing your doctor, your local doctor if you are really sick. We all know that now, not to just go to the hospital. But then it's also about thinking, okay, what can I control? So we can control sleeping and maybe trying to go to bed at the same time every night as you used to. And it can be very hard to sleep. Later on, we will be talking about mindfulness, and we have some mindfulness links that you can use at home. But for example, on the Headspace one, there's a tab which is all about sleep. So if you wake up at 4 in the morning or 2 in the morning, you can play this music and these things, and they will help you drift off to sleep naturally. So but what's most important is also to think about taking care of ourselves, as in, when you're traveling, as psychologists always use this, when you're traveling on an airplane and the masks drop, you always have to put on your mask first, and then you're getting some oxygen, and then through that you can help other people. So that's one of the main objectives of today, is just to reach out to you and make remember that you're not on your own, that we're here to support you and your colleagues, your managers, your supervisors. We're all in this together, and we will all support each other. So that's why we have this slide as well. It's very important to reach out and talk to someone. What most people are doing is something called a huddle. You might not have heard of a huddle yet. It could be maybe that you're calling it a team meeting at the moment, but maybe there's somebody maybe checking in with you every day, finding out what's going on in your work. Some of us won't be as productive as we normally are. Then some of us will have more work than ever. So it's a way of maybe checking in. Is everyone okay? Maybe someone might volunteer to help with some work that they haven't done before, or somebody else might be struggling. They might not be feeling well, and it's a way of asking for help. So do speak to your manager, your supervisor, or your colleagues, and let them know how you're feeling. And this really helps, this communication. So also what's important at the moment is to be careful, be kind, and be sensitive. So by that we mean, you may have seen there's quite a lot of racism at the moment against Chinese people, or even people that look Asian. And there's also a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of nonsense. How many people died? When was it first? When did it first break out? All this. That stuff doesn't really matter anymore. An illness is an illness, and it's here now. And what we have to deal with now is making sure that everyone can get the good support and the right support. So it's about, if you get maybe some of those jokes through your WhatsApp or something, just delete them. And anytime you're maybe some of us, or some people who have they might get carried away maybe with their mental health, don't worry about it. Just think, okay, the facts are this is an illness and we will get through it. So try to not speculate too much on where it's coming from, or is it going to last for 6 months? We don't know. So this is basic self-care tips that you know already about keeping your physical distance, which can be quite hard even when we're out. You know, we're all allowed to go out and exercise for an hour every day, but often you'll find, I saw something on the news about joggers can come near you, and someone said, oh, can their droplets touch me? So we're still worried, but it's still important to do the best that you can. But of course, we have to be in contact with somebody for 15 minutes, maybe in a room like we might have been before if we were working in the office, or someone has to sneeze or cough directly on you. So don't worry about it too much when you're out. It's still important to go out and get some physical exercise and move your body. And this also helps us to sleep. If you're maybe not feeling well and you don't want to go out, maybe then do try, if you're lucky enough to have a garden or a balcony, do try and go out every day and even do some stretching and some breathing. If you don't have a balcony or a garden, maybe stand by the window, open your window, and on a day where it's sunny, you can let the sunlight just come onto your body and just breathe. That helps. And yeah, just keep looking after yourself. And also what's important is to take breaks from work and breaks from the computer, because all of us are probably on the computer 9 or 10 hours a day now, more than ever. For example, Rosa and I would do, and Shamila, we would do face-to-face meetings with everybody because it's much nicer. But now everything's online, so we're all just staring at a computer all day. So what can we do to take good care of ourselves? We can be mindful of our social habits. So if you're someone who's very social, make sure you keep that contact up. A lot of people are connecting on a Saturday night, for example. They're still getting dressed up and putting on makeup, and they're having a glass of wine with their friends. People are still celebrating birthdays, but it's now through online groups or with the smaller family. And maybe when this passes, some people will celebrate big birthdays or big occasions again, like weddings, anniversaries, all those things. But what you can do is, I think it's important to watch some news and to keep yourself up to date with what's going on, but not too much. So maybe watch a little bit of it every day and then just turn it off. And definitely don't watch it for the last hour before you're going to bed at night. Then you can practice mindfulness, which we'll do a little bit later on, or you could listen to your favorite music, you can dance or exercise. There's lots of YouTube videos now and lots of apps, and lots of organizations are giving away things for free as a taster for 2 weeks or a month for us to join in. So it is hard to make ourselves do this, but maybe you could get your exercise clothes ready in the morning or the night before, and then have them on your bed ready. And when you finish work, maybe even spend 20 minutes or half an hour doing something. And one thing that's important at the moment as well is to think about, you may see we say here, try to break the pattern of negative thinking. So as the weeks go by, we'll be doing some more webinars, and we'll talk about that a bit more. But basically what it means is, when we're feeling anxious or worried, we have the same thought, and it can repeat and repeat and repeat in our heads. And at the moment we might be thinking, oh gosh, this is going to go on forever. What am I going to do? I might lose my job. I might lose contact with friends. We have a lot of negative thinking, and we can call this catastrophizing as well, where we see the worst case scenario. So it's very important for our minds to take a break from that. And literally all we have to do is tell ourselves stop. You can say stop out loud. You can put your hand like that and say stop. And this is when it's a good time to maybe take a few deep breaths. You can go out to those balconies or to the window and get some fresh air. And then maybe think, okay, there's difficult things that you went through in your life before. All of us as humans do that, have things in our life, and we get through them, and these things make us stronger. So maybe think of some event in the past that was very difficult for you. What did you do then to get yourself through it? Did you talk to somebody, maybe a sister or a close friend, or even did you talk to a counsellor? But we do get through these things. So I'm going to hand you over to Rosa now for the next bit. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mary. So my name is Rosa van der Heijden, as Natalie and Mary already said. I'm one of the staff counselors, and I'm happy to virtually meet with you all. Unfortunately, I'm not able to see you, but I hope to see you once this is all over in the Palais again. So of course it's already the third week. So congratulations, you've already made it to the third week. Probably it has gone with ups and downs. We see that some days are maybe better than other days. And now I would like to share some self-care tips for work. Also, probably you've already seen some things that will work for you, other things that don't work for you. And we're also looking forward to hear your ideas. What kind of things have you seen that worked for you and other things that didn't work for you? And it would be great to hear that from you as well. So one of the things that we see that works is to have a routine. We heard that before, it's important to maintain your normal routine as much as possible. Of course, it's tempting now that we work from home to maybe stay a little bit later in bed and to maybe wear your pajamas. But we see that it really helps you to feel better if you wake up at the same time every day, make up your bed, take a shower, put on some clothes that you would normally work, that you normally would wear for work. Also, we have the daily team huddles, as Mary said. Another thing that's very important is to stay connected with colleagues and communicate clearly. We sometimes feel a bit anxious when we feel that we need to be 24/7 virtually connected with everyone. That's not necessary. It's most important is that your colleagues know when you're available and when you're not available. Also, when you see challenges, maybe with communication or you have some challenges in the team, discuss it. It can be sometimes difficult, but make it open and communicate clearly with everyone in your team. Another thing that's very important is to be kind to yourself. We all see that we have difficulties. Like we had last week lots of difficulties with technical issues. That can be frustrating, and it's easy to be harsh on yourself. But give yourself some time to get used to it. We're now in the third week. It's still something new to us. It's okay for the moments that things are a little bit slower, and we will get used to it and we will catch up again. Also, take good care of yourself, because we know that many of us are working very, very hard to get things done as much as possible. So take good care of yourself in these difficult times. Another thing is self-care in our communities. Helping others helps us to feel good. For example, you can check in by phone or on neighbors or people in your community who may need some extra support. Working together as a community, that helps. Also, it's important to think that you always need to protect yourself and to follow the guidelines of the government when you're helping others. Another thing is to honor caretakers and healthcare workers, supporting people that are affected with COVID-19 in your community. So, for example, here in Geneva, what I find a very good initiative is every evening at 9 p.m. people are clapping for the healthcare workers to support them. It helps us also to feel good when we honor them. Also, it's important, and it can be sometimes difficult at some points, to keep faith, because we have to keep in mind that even though we're going through a very difficult time, it will pass and things will get better. For example, you can think of China, where things are improving. Also, it's important to try and stay positive, even though we're going through a difficult time, and it's okay to have a balance. I'm not going to tell you that you need to be positive all the time and happy, because it is okay in these very difficult situations to also feel sad or anxious at a certain point. But also try to balance it and also see things as an opportunity. Maybe there were some projects that you always wanted to do, maybe to learn a new language. We see that the Center for Learning and Multilingualism has lots of online learning opportunities. Also for some people, it might be an opportunity to spend more time with your family. Also try to think of these things. Some of you need to work full-time and also take care of the children. That can be very challenging. One of the things that is important, and you might have seen already in the coming weeks, that children are aware of what's going on. Of course, it's depending on the age. If you have small babies, it's different. But from a very young age, children can feel a lot. So talk with your children in an honest and age-appropriate way. Explain them what's going on. Also maintain familiar routines with them. And maybe you need to change a bit because, of course, they might not go to the childcare or to the schools anymore. But try to have a routine as much as possible, also for them to feel safe. Help them to find positive ways to express feelings, such as fear and sadness, because also they are going through a difficult time. Involve them in what's going on. Show them how you need to wash your hands effectively and how to sneeze in your elbow. Children also like to be involved, and they might say, "Mom, you have to do it like this," or they show you how to do it. Also, help children to exercise in the house. Do it as a family, all together. Make it like a daily plan, or once every 2 days. Come up with some creative things. Teach them life skills. It might be an opportunity to involve them in the household now that they are in the house all the time and they're not in schools. And also for the older children, the teenagers, it's taken for granted. They will be in touch with their friends all the time, as they usually do. But maybe for the younger children that do not have phones or smartphones or iPads, help them to be involved with their children. Also, self-care for elderly relatives and neighbors is important. We know that the elderly in our society are more at risk. So it's also important to check in with them. They might be staying at home. Of course, it's depending per person, and everyone is different, but they might not be able to go out to do grocery shopping or anything like this. Maybe you can offer them to give some practical help, like shopping, gardening. And we see already that in times of crisis, you see lots of initiatives for help. Also,
Apologies, everyone. We seem to have lost the connection with Rosa for a moment. I'll pass on to Mary to continue the slide until we can get the connection back with Rosa.
Hi everyone, this is Mary. We'll just continue for a little bit until Rosa comes back. So what Rosa was saying also, it's important to talk to elderly about what are their plans and what are their wishes. For example, there's many elderly people that I know that actually are in very good health, that are people that have always maybe gone to the gym or gone walking, and some of them feel a bit insulted to be called vulnerable and to be told they have to stay in their home. And then, as we know now, this illness is actually affecting everybody. So some younger people are getting ill and dying as well. But of course, older people are more prone to actually have a worse experience with this. So it's about not being afraid to have a difficult conversation with maybe an elderly parent or relative, or even a neighbor that you might know is maybe somebody living on their own. Their spouse may have died, or they may be single, or they may have children in a different country. But it's important to ask them, do they have a plan? What are their wishes? And maybe when it's in your own family, do they have a will? What do they want to do with their house or their finances? It's hard to have those conversations, but it is important. And then respect their wishes. If a family want to visit, you know how, for example, on Mother's Day in Europe, a lot of people didn't visit. They had online virtual meetings, and they maybe or spoke to somebody through a glass door or something. But some elderly people actually wanted their family to come in. So we also have to not impose strictness on them either, because you know people still have the right to choose, and some people, maybe if they're ill anyway, they will want to see their family members during this difficult time. I'll just see if Rosa is able to come in.
Hi everyone, I think I'm back. Thank you, Mary, for taking over. We're getting used to the technical difficulties, so hope everyone can hear me again. So now I would like to talk a bit about how some make our break. Maybe you cannot see your family anymore because of travel restrictions. You don't know when you can go home. So we're going through a very difficult time. We're worried about our family members, about our own health. But even though we're going through a difficult time, it's sometimes good to think of the good things that are happening. For example, we see the environment is benefiting. In China, we see some positive stories of cleaner air and water, and also in Italy. Also, what I find very impressive is to see that the entire world is working together to combat this virus. Researchers and scientists are working 24/7 to find a vaccine. And also, we are people recovering. Yes, we see people dying and it's very difficult, but also we see that people are recovering and things are getting better in Wuhan, in China. Another thing you might have seen last Friday, just before the weekends, a broadcast has been sent out by the Director General to discuss the volunteer support system. So we're now working on this. The task force has been set up, and details are coming very soon to call volunteers to support people in the United Nations to help each other. Also, the Staff Coordinating Council has set up a Facebook page. You might have seen it, to call for volunteers and also to support each other. So you might have a look online. This is also something I wanted to share in terms of sometimes trying to find positive news. This is a message of hope from Wuhan. This is an Irish man who lives in China, who shares his experience that he says life is getting back to normal in Wuhan. So it's good to keep that as well, that yes, it's very difficult to stay at home and to be worried, but we need to keep faith. Now I would like to give the floor back to Mary. As we said, we're going to do a little guided mindfulness sessions. Thank you very much for joining today.
Thanks, Rosa. So this is Mary again. So we will be sending you some resources later on further, so you'll be able to read more about this. But this is just, we thought it would be a taster because a lot of us are feeling maybe extra anxiety, extra stress, or just we're so busy that it's important to think about self-care and taking a bit of time to breathe and relax. So you don't have to do mindfulness. For those of you that maybe don't like it, you can maybe go and make a cup of tea or have a little stretch or just have a little break. But otherwise, if you don't like this, maybe do make sure you go for a walk, maybe even for 15 minutes in the middle of the day, and then again at the end of the day, just to get out if you can. So we'll just start this now just for 5 minutes. And we will also be having a mindfulness session live on Wednesday at 9:30 in English, and hopefully on Friday at 10 a.m. in French. So I'd like you to begin by getting comfortable in your chair. And most of us will be maybe sitting on a chair, or you might be sitting on your couch. So you can either close your eyes, or you can put your hands on top of each other, on top of each other, and put them in your lap and just have your gaze down into your hands if you don't want to close your eyes. So we'll just begin by closing your eyes and relaxing your eyelids. Relax your eyebrows. Relax your forehead. Relaxing your temples. And allowing a feeling of relaxation to go up over your head, down across to your neck, coming around your chin and your jaw. Relaxing your mouth and your tongue. Relax your nose and your cheeks and your ears. Just relaxing the face. Mindfulness is also about acknowledging what's going on around us, all the noise, all the busyness, and just letting it go. For example, someone here has just started doing construction. I hope you can't hear it, but if you can, just acknowledge the noise and let it go. And then we'll begin, if you like, by placing one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach, and taking a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe in, ideally through your nose, inhale all the way through your lungs, all the way down to your diaphragm and your belly. You may feel your belly puffing out like a balloon as you fill up your body with air. And then do a nice deep exhalation, pushing the air out from your diaphragm all the way up through your chest and your lungs and out through your nose. And we'll take another long, slow, deep inhalation. And as we breathe in, think of inhaling the pure, clean mountain air. Like if we're in Geneva at the moment, but you might be in France or you might be somewhere else around the world. Just visualize the top of the mountains, how clean it is up there with the snow. And then hold that sensation inside you for a few moments, a feeling of peacefulness and of clean air. And then exhale all the way from your diaphragm up through your chest and out through your nose. And as we take another deep inhalation, again, think of allowing the pure, clean air inside you, filling you up with goodness. And then as we exhale, think of letting go of any toxins, any stress, thinking that they're being pushed out from your diaphragm, your belly, up through your chest and out through your nose. And now I'd like you to plant your feet firmly on the ground. So think about like opening your feet wide, like the soles of your feet, the balls of your feet, and your toes and your big toe. And we call it planting. Some of you might do yoga or Pilates, or you'll know this from stretching after jogging. Push your feet into the ground, open up your feet and your toes, and really ground yourself. And then we can travel up our legs past our ankles, past our shins and our calves, to our knees. Traveling up in what we call our mind's eye, along your thighs, to your sitting bones and your hips. And now it's important you can feel the chair underneath you and the chair at your back. And maybe you even have a chair that comes up and supports your neck. Push your body into the seating part of your chair and the back and really connect with the chair. So you're grounded and supported by your feet, but you're also grounded and supported by the chair. So then traveling up our bodies, up our core, up our backs, to our shoulders. And a lot of us, when we're under pressure or when we're tense, we get pain in our lower back, perhaps between our shoulder blades, or our necks and our shoulders. So we're just paying attention to our bodies and seeing how the body is feeling today. And then what we might do again is put one hand on our chest, one hand on our elbow, on our stomach. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale deeply, puffing out your stomach like a balloon. And then this time, as we exhale, think of letting go of any tension in your body. I often get pain in my neck or my upper shoulders. And just as we exhale, let the tension go and let it go down your shoulders, down your arms, past your elbows, to your hands and out through your fingertips. Just visualizing any tension, any stress from the body being released out through down through your arms and out through your fingertips. And you're feeling supported and grounded by the chair and by the ground underneath your feet. And now when you're ready, you can gently come back. You can maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit. You can take a deep breath again. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. So that was just a little taste of mindfulness, and the purpose behind mindfulness is by doing something like that and concentrating on our body, we're actually giving the mind a break. We're switching off from those negative thoughts and maybe all the hyperactivity that goes on in our brains all day, and then hopefully we'll come back a bit calmer and a bit more relaxed. But I'm going to hand you over to Natalie now, and thanks very much for doing it.
Thank you very much, Rosa. and Mary for sharing all of this information with us. For me, I found it very, very useful and valuable. So I hope that all of those who are attending are also finding it valuable for them. If there are any questions you have for our counsellors, now is our time for open dialogue and Q&A, so please don't hesitate. You can ask your questions using the live event Q&A panel on the right of your screen, and our counsellors will be here to answer any questions that you have. I recognize a few new names in the session, so welcome and thanks so much. In the meantime, while any questions come in, we would also like to share with you that the slides from today's session will be shared with you. Those who are attended will also make sure they're available online on the Commons website if you would like to be able to look at the resources, especially as Mary and Rosa mentioned, they've provided some pages of resources for you on different aspects of keeping a healthy mind, including mindfulness if you're interested.
And also, in addition to what Natalie said, if you don't have any questions, but you maybe have some tips or some recommendations where you feel like that you would like to share with your colleagues, please feel free to put that also in the Q&A to share with us what kind of best practices you have realized doing this 2 weeks working from home.
Okay. No questions yet, but if anybody does have any questions, please do send them through, or if you like, you can also provide us feedback on the session itself. If there are any particular forms of learning online that might be useful for you at this time, for example, other types of sessions on keeping a healthy mind or something maybe more specific, please don't hesitate to share. I'm sharing with you now on the screen a feedback slide. So you can either scan the QR code with your phone to be able to provide us feedback or ideas, or you can also email us at commons@un.org. Our counsellors are also preparing other types of webinars to be able to share with you. So if you have feedback on particular topics that would be useful for you, let us know. And beyond that, any other types of learning sessions that you would like to see at the Commons, especially what would be valuable for you in these weeks that we're working from home and obviously working and living in different ways. So if there are no questions for the moment, we do thank you for attending and for being a part of this session with us. We will, as mentioned, have some more sessions coming very soon. Mary and Rosa will be delivering some mindfulness sessions. This coming Wednesday, we have Wellness Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. for you to practice a longer form of mindfulness, and then a French version on Friday. And we'll also obviously be in touch through communications on more information on those. So with that, if there are no questions, we really do thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mary and Rosa, as well for being here and for sharing all of this knowledge. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Natalie. And yeah, like we said at the beginning, it's also important if you have questions or if there's something you're maybe not sure about, do reach out to the Staff Counsellor's office and we're happy to speak with you individually. Previously, we have got lots of questions around what to do with teenagers, maybe a 15-year-old who's struggling already, maybe with school or with parents. Lots of questions like that, or with children. So we want to, as the weeks go by, develop things that are actually helpful for you. So please do, like Natalie said, send us your ideas and anything that's going on for you, maybe what's working, what's not working, and then we can develop more things and connect with you again and stay in touch with you during this difficult period. But thank you so much, everyone, for participating today, and we will look forward to seeing you all in the near future. Thanks.
Thank you so much,
everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day and a great week, and we'll see you soon.